guys, how's it going? I'm Vile Self, and I got some domination gameplay for you on the map Overlord. Enjoying this match in progress, and unfortunately at about 40 seconds there was a bit of a glitch in my recording, so I had to cut a piece of it out. But there's about, a 40-second or so part of the video that you don't get to see, but nothing really happens during that part anyway, so you're not really missing much. But just so you don't wonder why the scene kind of just changes suddenly. But anyways, there was a pretty hot topic at my work today regarding a video that's circling around the internet. You may have seen it, you may have heard about it. I'm going to post a link in the description, but basically it's a clip of a police officer on a bus who breaks a kid's arm. Now, if you haven't seen it or haven't heard about it, this is the first time you're hearing about it, you're probably thinking, that's awful, like, what kind of a police officer would break a kid's arm? Well, there's two different sides to this story, and there's a video that you can watch, and I suggest you watch it and get your own opinion for yourself. But there's two different sides to the story. Basically, one side of the story, or one side of the argument, is that the police officers were doing their jobs and that the kid's arm got broken by accident. And the other side of the story, the other argument people are making is that the police officer used excessive force, and that this was a form of unintentional, or not unintentional, but uncalled for police brutality. So I highly recommend you watch the video and get your own opinion on it, because everybody seems to have a different opinion. There's over 500 comments on the video I saw, which was a video that somebody posted on Facebook. The Facebook video had over 500 comments on it, and most of them were comments such as, these police should fry in hell, they should get fired, they should get sued. Speaking of getting sued, the parents of the boy are in fact suing the police officer for $1 million. I mean, whether they're going to succeed or not, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you guys where I stand on this topic, and I'm going to give you my reasons for that. Basically, I think that, the kid, was in the wrong. I think the cops did what they needed to do, and I think it was just unfortunate that he got his arm broken. If you want me to give you a little bit of backstory, basically this kid has some mental illnesses, such as he's bipolar, he's got anxiety, certain issues like that. He has a tendency not to listen to authority, and he was sitting on the bus, and apparently his stop came up, and the bus driver asked them to leave the bus. And this was a school bus, this wasn't even a city bus. So the bus driver, who was an elderly woman, asked him to leave the bus, and this kid threatened to kill the bus driver. Now when I say kid, yeah, he was a kid. They didn't say how old he was, but I would put him no younger than 15 and probably no older than 18. So he was around that age gap. I'd probably put him around the 16 age range. But yeah, he threatened to kill the bus driver. The bus driver didn't want to, go near him or anything like that, so she phoned the police, and the police came up. Two police officers boarded the bus. They approached the boy, and they began asking him to leave, in which the boy basically ignored them. He ignored the cops for half an hour. For half an hour, these cops stood there calmly and politely asking this kid to leave. They told him, we don't want you to get hurt. We don't want to have to drag you off this bus. We don't want anybody to get hurt. They said everything will be fine if you just walk off the bus with us. We don't want to have to drag you off. They gave him plenty of warnings. They gave him plenty of chances. And eventually one cop said, you know what, I've had enough. So he picked the kid up by his coat kind of thing, just stood him up. And then, like any cop would do when they were trying to restrain somebody, he put the kid's hand behind his back, and the kid started resisting, so the cop used some force, and the kid's arm broke. Now, when I say his arm broke, that's just what the video says. I didn't necessarily see an arm break. To me, it looked more like the shoulder came out of the socket. But after that happens, the kid starts saying, "You broke my fucking arm! You broke my fucking arm!" So, I mean, all these people are leaving comments saying, "Oh, this poor kid, he didn't know what he was doing. He was, he was unresponsive to the police officer because he didn't know what was going on." Yet, on the contrary, he's aware enough to send death threats to the driver, and he's aware enough to swear at the police officers after they injured him. So that kind of tells me that he did have a pretty aware state of mind. He wasn't, this mentally retarded kid who didn't understand you know, what was going on and stuff like that. I think he just didn't like listening to authority, and I mean, most teenagers don't like listening to authority. That's why teenagers get into trouble all the time. But when it all boils down to it, I think the cops were just basically following protocol. They gave this kid, you know, probably too many chances to get up and calmly leave the bus without the use of physical force. And the cops eventually have to just do their job, man. They gotta do their job. And, you know, when the police tell you to move, you move. When the police tell you to stay in your car, you stay in your car. When the police tell you to, you know, get off the bus, you get off the bus. Police have authority for a reason, and when the police tells you to do something, you have to do it. Nobody is exempt. It doesn't matter if you're elderly, it doesn't matter if you're handicapped, it doesn't matter if you're male, female, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, doesn't matter. If a cop tells you to do something, you must comply. If you don't, they have the legal right to use physical force against you in order to force you to comply with their demands. Now, of course, there are situations where excessive force is used and police brutality is a factor. And it's an issue. And it's an issue in North America and probably around the world where police abuse their authority. But is this one of those cases? I don't think so. I think this was simply a case of a police officer doing what he has to do in order to get a kid off a bus. And the unfortunate circumstance is that the kid's arm got broken. Whose fault is that? I wouldn't say it's the cop's fault. The cop was doing his job. I would say it's the kid's fault for two reasons. A, he didn't get off the bus, and B, he resisted when the police officer was trying to detain him, or restrain him, or whatever you want to call it. So, based on those two facts, the kid got his arm broken. You can't blame the cop for that. And the fact that the family's trying to sue this cop, and the fact that people want to kill this cop, like there's death threats on this video to the cop, where people are saying, oh, I want this cop to meet me in a dark alleyway and I'll show him what it feels like to be, you know, roughhoused or something like that. I'm like, come on, like, the cop did his job. He wasn't, you know, the cop showed absolutely no signs of anger. The cop shows no signs of frustration. The cop was very calm through the entire video. So why out of nowhere do you think he would just decide that he's going to break this kid's arm on purpose? You know, what does he have to gain from that? You know, why do people think police officers are these like awful people that just like hurting people? You know, yeah, there's issues that go on. Like there's the thing in Toronto that happened a few months ago where there was a kid on a subway car with a knife, a 17-year-old kid, and the police were pointing guns at him and they said, you know, drop the knife or we'll shoot. Drop the knife or we'll shoot. And the kid wasn't dropping the knife, so the police shot him. Now, granted, I think shooting the kid once was warranted because they gave him plenty of warnings. The kid did not comply, and so they did what they said they were going to do. The problem with it is that the officer that shot him 9 times or 8 times or something like that. So you gotta, you know, wonder why these cops are, you know, yeah, shooting the kid's one thing, but shooting him 9 times, that's excessive. That's police brutality. But in the case of this kid on the bus with his broken arm, that wasn't police brutality. That was a police officer doing his job. And do I get this dog here? Oh, stabbed Riley. Stabbed this guy. Oh, sorry to interrupt that little commentary there, but that was a nice little play. Stay tuned to the end of this video too, because I get a pretty cool kill cam with the Moz rocket launcher, which is probably one of my favorite kill streaks in this game. Once you get the hang of how the thing works, it's actually pretty fun to use. But anyways, yeah, I even have a personal experience that I'd like to talk to you about briefly before this video comes to an end. I was about 15 years old. Me and my friends were horsing around down by the bay. I live near a lake, and there's like a dragon boat team that races their dragon boats in the summer, and they had their day off or whatever. So me and my friends were down there, and we were playing around on the. It's like a big hut that they store all their boats in, and somebody called the cops on us thinking we were trying to break in. So the only way in and out of this place is one single dirt road. So I was riding my bike away. We left this place. We're riding our bikes down the dirt road, and some cops passed us going the opposite way. And then all of a sudden they turned around and they started coming up behind us, and they started flashing their lights. And I thought they were trying to get around me, so I started pedaling faster and I tried to get out of the way, and the cop rammed me with his car. And I didn't fall, but I almost fell off my bike. So I mean, what if I did fall? What if I fell and I hurt myself? You know, what if I fell and I broke my arm? Is that going to be the cop's fault for ramming me? Or is that my fault for trying to run away from the cops? I personally would have blamed myself. Anyways, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Vile Self, out.